only do you learn a lot, you meet people that you would never meet in any other opportunity. People from around the world. People from South Korea, from US territories, from I think something like 30 states in the United States. It's an opportunity to learn from one another. Not really from teachers, although I'm sure you did a lot of that. But the opportunity to learn more about yourself, about what it means to be a statesman. I'm going to be really brief because, frankly, I'm the least interesting part of this graduation. The most interesting part is going to be when the students speak. But I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your hard work these last 3 weeks. I also want to give my appreciation to the faculty, and I think we should all give them a big round of applause. Another one for our lovely staff who work tirelessly. And lastly, I think you should all congratulate your parents and family members who are here today to see you and got your work. We have a special treat today. The CEO of the Junior Statesman of America Foundation is here, Ken White, and it's my honor to introduce him right now. So come on up, Ken.
So thanks, Steve. And can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I'm doing my best projecting. Okay, first thing I have to say is that our board voted last month. Our new name is going to be the Junior State of America Foundation. So, hallelujah. We're in the 20th century.
Just put it in your pocket.
Put it in my pocket, okay. So hallelujah, we're entering the 20th century, kind of the 21st century, but we got there. Okay, so let's do a quick public opinion poll if you're willing to participate. How many of you find that politics is a significant source of stress in your life? Raise your hand. Okay. How many of you, this is a deeper question, how many of you are fearful about the future of this country? Raise your hand. And how many of you think that most people have too little influence in Washington, D.C.? Okay, so these findings are actually in line with what the American Psychological Association found in a 2017 poll. 57% of Americans are concerned about politics and rank it a significant source of stress in their lives. This is above the economy, this is above work and money as a significant source of stress. And more than 2/3 of adults say that they are fearful about the future of this country. And that is disproportionately true among low-income people. Meanwhile, the Associated Press says that 3/4 of us report that we don't feel we have enough influence in what goes on in Washington, D.C. So why is that? Well, one possible reason is that more and more of us adults have sorted ourselves. We live with people who think like us, act like us, believe like us, have politics like us. And that's both true online and offline, as you all know, right? So we're sorting ourselves by class, by culture, by politics, and by income. And yet, that doesn't make us feel more secure. It makes us feel more anxious, right? Because we're not with people who are unlike us. We don't bump into them on a daily basis. We don't get an opportunity to speak with people who are different from us, right? Increasingly, what happens is we look at those people who are not like us as other. And when we look at somebody else as other, they're scary, right? They're not like us, we don't understand them, we don't appreciate them as human beings. So this sense of the unknown is part of what's contributing to our sense of anxiety. And as my wife, who's actually videotaping me right now, she's writing an article right now that's called The United States of Anxiety, about exactly this phenomenon, right? That more and more the question is, can we the people hold together in a scenario where we're so separated? So, by the way, for students, none of this is your fault. This is on the adults in the audience, right? So we're the ones who created this. And you know, as adults, we're actually doing the best we can, right? We're trying to reconcile these lofty ideals with this really troubled history and trying to bring it all together to somehow make a better democracy. But, you know, as older people, we tend to tell stories. I'm sure you've heard your parents tell stories, your grandparents tell stories, teachers tell stories. And they're going to continue to tell you stories, and it's really important to listen to them. And it's important to listen to them because if you don't know your past, you can't know the future. but it's also important for you to actually question those stories. And the best question you can ask is, yeah, you're telling me about what worked, but can you also tell me about what didn't work? What mistakes did you make? What regrets do you have? What do you wish you would have done differently? Because if you listen to the story and you listen to what gets left out of the story and how the story is told, it gives you a lot more context than just the story itself. So you might hear people who came of age in the 1960s say, you know, we could solve it all with more like peace, love, and groovy music, right? Or you might hear people who came of age in the 80s, like me, and they'd say, well, you know, it's all about the culture wars. We've got to fight for our group, and the market will solve everything. And then there's people who came of age in the 2000s, and they'll say, you know, if we just had that killer app, if we just had that video game, that would solve everything. So everybody's got a piece of the story, but nobody's complete. And your job is to not reinvent the mistakes of the past. You've got an opportunity to reinvent democracy for the times in which you live and the vision you bring to our democracy. So it's not simply to invoke, you know, we the people, wave the flag, and go home and say, I've done my job. It's not enough to just opine about some glorious past that never actually existed. It's not enough to say, oh, there's this beautiful dream of the future that's not going to happen. Your job is, however, is not to accept the United States of anxiety as a default setting. Your job is to do what we try to do, which is build something a little bit better. So what you've been doing the last 3 weeks here is incredible training for that. And I see you doing something much more difficult and much more challenging and much more important than what a lot of adults in this room have been doing. And that is, you're showing us, older folks, your peers, kids who are coming behind you, the politicians, how to actually be the people. Not just talk about we the people, but be the people. And I want to tell a story about that from what I saw just about 3 days ago here on the campus. I was in the American government class, and there was a great discussion going on about abortion. It involved parental responsibility, it involved where's our morality person? It involved morality, it involved rights, it involved privacy, and it was a great discussion, very respectful, very passionate, very engaging. And then a half dozen students spilled out into the hallway and kept that discussion going. Students from very different backgrounds, very different perspectives, very different approaches to the topic. And that discussion went on for 15 minutes, right? I'm pointing at you because you were one of the participants in that. And it was the same spirit, respectful, engaged, interesting, trying to understand different points of view, trying to reconcile that. And you all walked off after 15 minutes and you were still having that conversation when you walked away, right? That's how to be the people. And that's a powerful antidote to the United States of anxiety, right? So you've met the other. You've had lunch with her. You've been in a debate with him. You've sat down in a classroom with all of them. And those others are no longer others. They're now us's, right? And that's a powerful antidote to the kind of separation we see in American democracy. You've learned how to build bridges when us adults seem to intent on just digging the chasms deeper rather than building bridges across them, right? You're learning how to build bridges. So you're learning the practices and skills to be the people. You've learned how to be active participants and effective leaders in a democratic society. So here's the invitation to you. If the last 3 weeks have been a high point, and based on what your reaction is, Steve, they have been, then how are you going to continue at that high point? Make a commitment and make a plan that when you get home, you're going to continue to operate at this high level. You're not going to revert to the way you were before you got here. You're going to take a deep breath and decide and plan for how you're going to be the people today, tomorrow, and every day. And that's a pretty daunting thing to do, and it's a pretty big responsibility to put on a 15-year-old, right? But you don't have to do it yourself. Social behavior is contagious. If you're an active member of the Junior State of America community, you're part of 10,000 students and teachers in 34 states and territories who are doing the same kind of work. You'll be part of an alumni network of more than 300,000 people who have the same skills and training and beliefs that you do. So if there's a JSA chapter at your school, build that chapter stronger. Invite more others into the conversation. If there isn't a JSA chapter at your school, Steve and Yvonne and I can help you create one. And for the adults who are here and the adults when you get back home, we're considering bringing JSA in an intergenerational context. So there's going to be opportunities, we hope, for adults to engage in this as well. And I'd actually be delighted to talk to anybody about that. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you right here, right now, to adults and students alike to commit to be the people, all right, at every opportunity. So are you with me on that? Okay. So on 3, be the people. 1, 2, 3. Be the people. Nice. So thank you on behalf of the Junior State of America Foundation. Thank you on behalf of the JSA community. Thank you on behalf of myself. And get out there and be the people. Thanks.